Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve, Kauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Granthiraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, text 42. Does anyone need to go first? Please raise your hand. No one. So we'll just go in order.
Can I go first, Mataji? I was trying to search the button.
Okay. You're first anyway. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Athava bahu naitena kim gyatena tavarjuna Vishtavyayaham idam kritsnam ekam se nastito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Arunita, Achintadev Prabhu.
Arjunita will read later, Mataji.
Okay. I think Achintadev Prabhu also will come later. Okay.
I think
I
so.
thought, yeah. Inba, I thought I saw them. Well, maybe they lost internet or something. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you do? I don't hear you. Okay, Isha, go ahead.
Mataji, I'll do it at the end.
But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Krishna
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन दृष्टव्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? The single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Madhava. अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन दृष्टव्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Rasapriya.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन दृष्टव्याहम् इदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Lokesh.
No, no.
Huh? Inba is here. I thought I heard. Yeah, Inba, Inya, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. One second.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Inba.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहम् इदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. Translation. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Mataji. Jai Shri Mataji.
Mataji is not here.
Prabhuji is there?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Lokesh.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the last one, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्यागमिदं कृष्णम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thank you, Mataji. Lokesh is not ready.
Okay. Suvarnangi Mataji. Narsimha Lila Chaitan Prabhu. Suhrit Spurti.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Swami Shri Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहम् इदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Others are not there.
Others are not there. Okay. Vindhyavali Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Go ahead, Mataji.
अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तव अर्जुन इष्टभ्याहमिदं कृष्णम् एकांशेन सितो जगत्. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Arunita, are you ready?
Mataji, she's not ready. I'll read.
Yeah. Please repeat, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Athava bahu naitena
Athava bhavu naitena.
kim
Athava
gyaten kim
naitena. Yes, Mataji.
yeah. Kim gyatena tavarjuna
Kim gyatena tavarjuna.
Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam
Vistabhyam idam krishnam.
kritsnam
Vistabhyam idam krishnam.
ekam shena sthito jagat.
Ekam sena sthito jagat. Translation. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all that this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Athava bahunaitina kim gyaten tava arjuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekam shena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, did anyone, Arunita, anyone else? Okay.
Mataji, Arunita is not ready.
Yes, yes. Okay. So let's do Srimad Bhagavatam. No? I'll recite Bhagavad Gita 10:42. Athava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekam shena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9. We completed chapter 9, isn't it? We were reading about Khatvanga Maharaj, and we saw how Khatvanga Maharaj, being a pure devotee, meditated on the Supreme Lord, and we saw how he contemplated after he found out that he had only one muhurta of lifetime of life, or one muhurta time left in his life. He immediately came down to the earth planet, and he contemplated about the futility of material attachment, and attachment to material results, and how he was never interested those things even as a child, and his interest was only in the Supreme Lord, and also his instructions, right? To anyone who's really intelligent, he should only be interested in devotional service, because all material achievements are, the attachment to material things. It's the happiness that you're expecting from achieving material things is like Gandharvapura, an imaginary city, either in the forests or on a hill, which does not exist. So there is no happiness, there is no endurance there. And then, so what did he do? Finally, he completely meditated. His mind focused his mind on the Supreme Lord. So there we also read in the last couple of verses, the second last verse, we read about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. That if one knows Bhagavan, he automatically knows Paramatma and Brahman. I'll just go over the last two verses. Yeah. Thus, Maharaj Khatwanga, by his advanced intelligence in rendering service to the Lord, gave up false identification with the body full of ignorance. In his original position of eternal servitorship, he engaged himself in rendering service to the Lord. Yes, the last verse. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev Krishna, is extremely difficult to understand for unintelligent men who accept him as impersonal or void, which he is not. So it's very clearly saying that Khatwanga Maharaj did not conceive the Supreme Lord as impersonal. The Lord is not impersonal, and anyone who considers him to be impersonal is unintelligent. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abuddhayah. Krishna said that, right? That means 724, Bhagavad Gita 720. Krishna says that the unintelligent, abuddhayah, right, think that before originally I was impersonal and now I have assumed a temporary personality. They think like this. Who thinks? Unintelligent people. So here also the same thing. It is extremely difficult to understand for unintelligent men. What is extremely difficult to understand? Vasudev Krishna is extremely difficult for unintelligent men who accept him as impersonal, which he is not. The Lord is therefore understood and sung about by pure devotees. So, well, maybe we can just continue now, but that day I wanted to read to you about Kshirodakashai Vishnu's incarnation is Lord Nityananda Prabhu's son, Veerachandra or Veerabhadra. Maybe another time we can read. And also we have, so what is today for you? Is it Deepavali today or tomorrow?
On Sunday, 12th.
Sunday is Govardhan Puja, right? No? Monday is Govardhan Puja for you?
Monday is Govardhan Puja for us.
Monday is Govardhan Puja.
Okay. So then we have time. Today for us is Friday evening. So we'll read on Sunday or on, my Saturday will be your Sunday. No. My Saturday will be your Saturday
Sunday
morning.
evening.
Sunday. My Sunday evening will be. So for us it will be Govardhan Puja. We'll read about Deepavali on Sunday. Okay. So let's continue. So now we are starting a new chapter. Khatwanga Maharaj went back home, back to Godhead. So now we are reading about the dynasty of Ikshwaku Maharaj. So we came up to Khatwanga Maharaj. We will continue from there. Chapter 10, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramchandra. This 10th chapter describes how Lord Ramchandra appeared in the dynasty of Maharaj Khatwanga. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya. It's also interesting. Deepavali is the day when Lord Ramchandra returned to Ayodhya, and for us it is tomorrow. For you it is day after tomorrow. So it's very nice coincidence. So, yeah. So this chapter 10, also describes the Lord's activities, Lord Ramchandra's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. The son of Maharaj Khatwanga was Dirghabahu, and his son was Raghu. Raghu is a very famous king in this line. The son of Raghu was Aja. The son of Aja was Dasharath. So this is the Dasharath, the father of Lord Ramchandra. And the son of Dasharath was Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord descended into this world in his full quadruple expansion as Lord Ramchandra, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna, great sages like Valmiki, who were actually in knowledge of the absolute truth, described his transcendental pastimes. So the Lord was already here along with his expansions, and at that time Valmiki Muni described the transcendental pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes these pastimes in brief. because it was already described by Valmiki Muni in Ramayana, so it just gives it in brief in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Lord Ramchandra went with Vishwamitra and killed Rakshasas like Maricha. After breaking the stout and strong bow known as Haradhanu, the Lord married Mother Sita and cut down the prestige of Parashuram. To obey, the other day Saujanya Mataji was asking, where can we read about Parashuram? So here Parashuramji comes in. To obey the order of his father, he entered the forest, accompanied by Lakshmana and Sita. There, he cut off the nose of Shurpanakha and killed the associates of Ravana, headed by Khara and Dushana. Ravana's kidnapping of Sita Devi was the beginning of this demon's misfortune. When Maricha assumed the form of a golden deer, Lord Ramchandra went to bring the deer to please Sita Devi. But in the meantime, Ravana took advantage of the Lord's absence to kidnap her. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Ramchandra, accompanied by Lakshmana, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu. Then the Lord killed the demon Kabandha and the commander Bali and established a friendly relationship with Sugriva. After organizing the military strength of the monkeys and going with them to the shore of the sea, the Lord awaited the arrival of Samudra, the ocean personified. But when Samudra did not come, the Lord, the master of Samudra, became angry. Then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean, and with the help of advice from Vibhishan, he attacked Ravana's capital, Lanka. Previously, Hanuman, the eternal servant of the Lord, had set fire to Lanka, and now with the help of Lakshman, the forces of Lord Ramchandra killed all the Rakshasa soldiers. Then Lord Ramchandra personally killed Ravana. Mandodari and other wives lamented for Ravana, and in accordance with Lord Ramchandra's order, Vibhishan performed the funeral ceremonies for all the dead in the family. Lord Ramchandra then gave Vibhishan the right to rule Lanka and also granted him a long duration of life. The Lord delivered Sita Devi from the Ashoka forest and carried her in a flower airplane to his capital Ayodhya, where he was received by his brother Bharat. When Lord Ramchandra entered Ayodhya, Bharat brought his wooden shoes. Vibhishan and Sugriv held a whisk and fan. Hanuman carried an umbrella. Shatrughna carried the Lord's bow and 2 quivers, and Sita Devi carried a water pot containing water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, Riksha Raja, carried a shield. After Lord Ramchandra, accompanied by Lord Lakshmana and Mother Sita Devi, met all his relatives, the great sage Vasishtha enthroned him as king. The chapter ends with a short description of Lord Ramchandra's rule in Ayodhya.
That was really good.
Yeah, whole Ramayana in one small paragraph.
Sankshipta Ramayana.
Yeah. Text 1, Madhava, your turn. Sri Shuka Uvacha Khatvangat Dirgha Bahuscha Raghus Tasmat Prithushavaha Ajastato Maharajas Tasmat Dasharatho Bhavat.
Sukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Khatvanga was Dirghabahu, and the son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality, Maharaj Dasarath.
Yes, so we can remember from here, right? Khatvanga Maharaj's son is Dirghabahu, Dirghabahu's son is Aja, Dirghabahu's son is Raghu, Raghu's son is Aja's son is Dasharath Maharaj's son is Lord Ramchandra. Okay?
That means he is great grandson.
Dirghabahu, Raghu, Aja, Dasharath Maharaj and Lord Ramchandra.
So great grandson.
All coming down from Ikshvaku Maharaj. Tasyapi Bhagavan Esha. I'm sorry, Mataji. Actually, because there is echo when we are in the same room, so I turn
No,
off my
it's okay.
speaker.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
So I was telling you, he's the great grandson, Dasarada.
Yes, sixth in line
Sixth
from
generation.
Bhagavad. Yes, Mata. Yes. Okay. So next Rasapriya. तस्यापि भगवानेशा साक्षात् ब्रह्ममयो हरिः अंशांशेन चतुर्धागात् पुत्रत्वं प्रार्थितः सुरैः रामलक्ष्मणभरता शत्रुघ्ना इति संज्ञया.
For by the demigods, the supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth himself, directly appeared with his expansions after expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms, as the Srimad Bhagavatam said.
Yes, being prayed for by the demigods. So the demigods prayed to the Supreme Lord to appear. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. So the Lord's direct expansion is Lakshman. Expansions of the expansion. You have Chaturvyuha, just like we see in when we read about Lord Nityananda Prabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There we see the description that originally there is Lord Krishna. His first expansion is Balaram. From Balaram there is Chaturvyuha. And in Chaturvyuha you have Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Now this Sankarshan further expands as Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. And again from Narayan you get Sankarshan, Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Like that. So from how the expansion comes first from Krishna Balaram, right? And then Balaram expands into Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna. So that Vasudev is expanding as Lord Narayan. Yes. So here it is said the Supreme Lord, His expansion and expansions of His expansion, like that. He appeared like that. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were, so the Lord Himself is Rama, His expansion is Lakshman, and expansions of the expansion Bharat and Shatrugna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasharath. Purport. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Lord Ramchandra and his brothers Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many forms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anant Rupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishthan. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna. And these forms may exist in any part of His creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personality of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. Lord Ramchandra, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna, who, being Vishnu Tattva, are all equally powerful, became the son of Maharaja Dasratha in the response to the prayers by the demigods. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So, first of all, so we are reading about Lord Ramchandra here. This 10th chapter is about the activities of Lord Ramchandra. He is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And why he appeared? He appeared being prayed for by the demigods. And he appeared along with his expansions and expansions of the expansions. But one thing Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport is that even the expansions and expansions, amsha, expansion is amsha, kala is expansions of the expansion. They are all Vishnu Tattva only. And when somebody is Vishnu Tattva, that means he is absolute truth. He is the Supreme Lord, Vishnu Tattva. That means they all have the same power. This is explained in Brahma Samhita. Deeparchireva hitashantaram abhyupetya deepayate vivrita hetu samana dharma. So samana dharma. So there are, like now all of us are showing lamps in Kartik, the Lord, right? So if you have candles, if you're showing candles or you're just lighting candles, all candles have, if you take them from the same packet, right, all candles, they all have the same flame because they're all even. So like that, all the different expansions of the Lord, they have the same power because they're Vishnu Tattva. It's not that one is more powerful and the other, being an expansion, is less powerful. No. Vishnu Tattva means they're all equally powerful. That's one point. But then there is difference in the sweetness, in the rasa, there is difference. So, Akhila Rasamrita Murti, that is Krishna. All rasas, he reciprocates with his devotees in all rasas. That Lord Krishna, only Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. Others, that sweetness, madhurya, is experienced only with Krishna in Vrindavan. Not even Krishna in Dwaraka or Mathura. There is Aishwarya. There is madhurya mixed with Aishwarya there. Aishwarya is there. And when you come to Vaikuntha, the devotees don't even experience higher rasas. Their only rasa is with the Lord as the master. That's the highest. And with his personal expansions, he can have, Sakhya. But even that Sakhya is not, it's filled with Aishwarya. Just like relationship between Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman, there's always that awe and reverence. Always that awe and reverence, isn't it? But even that, it's not for devotees. It's only for his personal expansions. And same, conjugal relationship with his internal energy only. It's not with the Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy. You don't find that. So, but the point here is, but as far as their power is concerned, they are all equally powerful. It's not that one is less powerful and one is more powerful. And the other thing is, all of them are simultaneously existing. You cannot trace back in time that at this point Krishna expanded into Balaram and then Balaram expanded into Chaturvi. No, everyone is eternally present. Everyone is eternally present. Same with the living entities. The living entities, we understand that one Krishna became many, right? But you can never trace back exactly when one Krishna became expanded into many. Everyone has been existing always like that. So that's the position here. So being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Lord, along with his expansions and expansions of the expansions, appeared as the sons of Dasharath Maharaj, and their names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrugna. Okay? So, yeah, they're all Vishnu Tattva. Text 3. Lokesh. Tasyanucharitam rajan rishibhisthattvadrshiभिः shrutam hi varnitam bhuri tvaya sitapater muhu. Lokesh or Mataji?
Yeah, Mataji. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen.
Yes. So they have already been described. Lord Ramchandra's transcendental activities have already been described by saintly persons. Who's that saintly person? Lord Valmiki Muni has already given Ramayana, and you have heard about these activities again and again, because that is part of the Vedic culture. The whole plan of this Vedic society or the Vedic culture is to awaken our dormant love for the Supreme Lord. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, that is not the whole purpose. By doing Dharma, you'll get Artha. By that Artha, you will fulfill your Kama. And when you get frustrated by Kama, then you will take to, the Jnana path and ultimately get Moksha. That's not the plan. The real plan is to once again reawaken our love for the Supreme Lord. So therefore, in Vedic, like this yesterday in Chaitanya Charitamrita reading also we were discussing, how because the word Kanair Natashala word came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling from Jagannath Puri supposed to be going towards Vrindavan, but he was still in Bengal. He came to this place Kanai Natashala. So there in the purport Srila Prabhupada is explaining about Kanair Natashala and also Harisabha. Harisabha means devotees would come together and they would perform kirtans. Devotees means all the people, right? Everyday people, or they would have regular meetings in the village. They will come together. So they will have many of these Kanayir Natashala. That means where Krishna's pastimes are depicted in picture forms or in dioramas, which we still see in temples. If you go, you see the pastimes of the Lord, right? Various murtis are made depicting the pastimes of the Lord. So that is called, in Bengal, it's called Kanai Natashala, Kanayir Natashala. So the idea is, and every evening, Srila Prabhupada also says this, and you also must have heard or personally experienced. In villages, devotees come together in the evening and sit and hear Harikatha, either Ramayana or Mahabharata. After they take dinner and everything, they sit in the temple courtyard. One person is reciting Harikatha. You hear that and then go home and go to bed like that. So the whole idea is to reawaken our uh, dormant love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, therefore, we hear, right? As we grow up in where there is Vedic culture, you hear about the Lord and His transcendental pastimes, right? Grandmothers tell their grandchildren about Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, right? About Mahabharata, about Krishna's pastimes, right? So that is the culture, that is the Vedic culture. So that's why Sukadev Goswami is saying, you have heard it many times, right? You have heard about the transcendental activities. See, this is Sukadev Goswami speaking at the beginning of Kali Yuga. Lord Ramchandra had appeared in Treta Yuga. And by the way, Lord Ramchandra's activities, but even time-wise, right? You may say, actually, the Lord's Ramayana is eternal. It's not that Ramayana is there only after Lord Ramchandra performed all the activities. That's when Ramayana appeared. Ramayana is eternal, right? All Shastras, all Vedas are eternal. Eternal means they were there in the past, they are there now, and they'll continue to be there in the future. That's what is eternal. But sometimes they just disappear. They disappear from the vision. Why they disappear? When evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalene ham mahata yogo nashtaha. Parantapa. In due course of time, that's the nature. In due course of time, they disappear. How they disappear? If there is not qualified people to carry the parampara, how is this knowledge getting transmitted? Through parampara. Through parampara. So if the parampara gets broken, somebody does not transmit it to the next generation, does not follow it himself, and he does not pass it on, then eventually it gets lost. Then what happens? Once again, the Lord will start another parampara like that. Or in some cases, uh, you know, the sages, right? He inspires the sages to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and by meditating, the Vedas or the scriptures, they're revealed in their hearts and they come out once again, they're manifested like that. But they're eternal. So Ramayana is also eternal. Okay. So, but if you want to see, okay, it was not known at that time in general to everyone, and everyone came to know after Lord Ramchandra appeared, and then Valmiki wrote, right? Even if you take like that, still this was being spoken in the Kali Yuga. So Treta Yuga had already passed, and Valmiki Muni had given Ramayana when Lord Ramchandra was there, isn't it? So since that time, it was being passed on generation after generation. So many times, everyone hears the transcendental activities of Lord Ramchandra. Everyone is familiar. You don't need to, everyone knows Ramayana. That's the whole point. So because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramchandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. Because that's the context here. We are reading about the dynasty of actually Vaivasvata Manu, and in that, and now we are reading about Ikshvaku Maharaj. So Ikshvaku Maharaj's dynasty is called the Sun dynasty. Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, means he is the son of Vivasvan, the sun, right? Vaivasvata Manu, Vivasvan. So, yeah, so this dynasty is called the Sun dynasty, and the Sun dynasty is culminating in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then again, there will also be the Moon dynasty coming down in the same line. So that we will read after this. And the Moon dynasty will culminate in, the description of the Moon dynasty culminates in Krishna and Balaram. Again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are reading, here is the context. We are reading about the dynasty, the Sun dynasty, and now we are reading about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra. So therefore, we must talk about the pastimes of the Lord. But since everyone knows them already, I'm just going to tell them briefly. Sukadeva Goswami is saying. Everyone means he's speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So he's telling Parikshit Maharaj, since you have heard it again and again so many times, I will just describe in brief. Please listen. Purport. Lokesh is there, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Modern Rakshasas possessing an educationally advanced merely because they have
Doctorates.
doctorates. I have tried to prove that Lord Ramachandra is not the Supreme Lord but an ordinary. But those who are learned and spiritually advanced will never accept such conditions, notations. They will
Notions.
accept the notions. They will accept the description of Lord Ramachandra and his activities only as presented by Tattva Darshis. Tattvadarshis. Those who know the absolute truth in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, the Supreme Personality of God advises that with even Patena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadeta Jnanam Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Unless one is Tattvadarshi, the complete knowledge of absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the personality of God. Therefore, although there are many so-called Ramayanas or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, some of them are not actually authoritative. Some Lord Ramachandra's activities are described in the term of one's own imagination. Speculations or material sentiments, but the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra should not be handled as something imaginary. While describing the history of Lord Ramachandra, Sukadeva Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, "You have already heard about the activities of Lord Ramachandra. Apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, were many Ramayanas or histories of Lord Ramachandra activities, and there are many still. But we must select only those books written by Tattvadarshi, Jnanisha Tattvadarshina,
Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha.
Jnanina Tattvadarshina, not books of so-called scholars who claim the knowledge only to be the basis of doctorate. This is a warning by Sukadeva Goswami.
Rishibis Tattvadarshibhi.
Although the Ramayana, composed by Valmiki, is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Sukadeva Goswami in a few verses.
Srila Prabhupada is saying, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So yes, the way to receive jnana is by approaching a spiritual master, and of course, what is the mood? You have to go pranipata, right? Very submissively. Pariprashna, you ask questions, you inquire submissively. Sevaya, you render service. That's the quality of a disciple who's approaching the spiritual master. But then, who is the spiritual master? What is his qualification to give that knowledge? Upadekshanti te jnanam. You can give knowledge to such a disciple who has these qualities. But what is his qualification? The spiritual masters, Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha. He has the knowledge by realization. Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha. He has realized the absolute truth. Right? The self-realized soul can impart knowledge. That is the point. So, if you simply turn on the television and you want to see Ramayana, that is nowadays. And in the past, when we didn't have televisions or internet, just buy some book from the bookstore on Ramayana, and we've become happy that, I am reading Ramayana or my children are reading Ramayana and Mahabharata. But do you know who has written it? And what is the knowledge that is being imparted through that book? When we go to buy food, especially as devotees and even non-devotees also, they are particular about what went into that food, isn't it? Like even if they are, not vegetarian, but still they want to make sure that it is healthy, fresh ingredients were used, right? Because you eat the wrong thing and your health gets spoiled. We should be even more careful about what we hear and what is the source of that from which it is coming, because whatever we hear will have an effect on our consciousness. Simply seeing the title that, oh, this is Bhagavatam, this is Ramayana, this is Mahabharata, and we just open it and we think it's the same story. No, it's not. For you to differentiate between what is authentic and what is not, you should first know what is authentic, and then you can understand what is not, and immediately you can tell, oh, this is off. There are many Mayavadis, non-devotees, demons who write books like Ramayana. Yes. They don't believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their personal life is completely, not following any even basic human, uh, values they don't have. Some of them are gays, and they write books like Ramayana, and we read those books and we give them to our children, and we think that, oh, we are reading Ramayana, this is what. No, you won't read Ramayana, because what is the whole purpose? It's like milk touched by the lips of a serpent. It's poisonous. It will have the opposite effect. Milk is supposed to nourish us, but if you drink milk which has been touched by the lips of a snake, then instead of nourishing the body, it's going to kill the body. It's going to poison the body. So although it is Ramayana, which is like milk, but if you're not hearing from the right source, from someone who's not a devotee of the Lord, and we don't even care to know who has written it, who has made the movie, we just sit and watch, you're taking poison in the form of, which appears like milk, but actually it's poison. So that's the message. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, here Sukadev Goswami, very interesting. Let's read the purport one more time. Yeah. Yeah. Unless one is Tattvadarshi, in complete knowledge of the absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Oh, it can be a good business if I made a movie on Ramayana, or if I wrote some books on Ramayana or Mahabharata, then I can make money. With that intention, if somebody is writing, would you call him a Tattvadarshi? No. So unless one is a Tattvadarshi, he has no right, he does not have the authority to describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. Then you may say, how are you describing Mataji? What is your authority? Yeah, I'm not Tattvadarshi, but I am, so we have that order, right? From the Supreme Lord himself in the first place, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that Amar Agyaye Hoya Ei Desh Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. On my order, right? You simply repeat Krishna's Upadesh. This is because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, and coming down in disciplic succession from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Prabhupada and then to our spiritual masters, we have been instructed. Don't add or delete anything, just repeat whatever has been taught by the Acharya. Just repeat the same thing. So then still we are doing justice, because we are getting it from the right source, right? So when you say one does not have a right to describe, especially when it comes to writing books, right? So our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, all these acharyas, they've given us books. How did they write these books? Vrindavan Das Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. How did they give us these books? Because they're Tattvadarshis, and then they have given us, right? So if we repeat the same message, then we are fine. Just exactly. And also that message also we are actually receiving through succession. It's not that directly we are approaching, we are receiving it through the disciplic succession. Otherwise, how we know who is authentic, who is not? Only when it is in Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada recommends, when he says whatever he recommends, that's what we read. So it's handed down to us through the Acharya, right? And Srila Prabhupada's, first of all, for us, our responsibility is to read Srila Prabhupada's books thoroughly. That's first. And whatever he recommends, that next, like that. So unless one is a Tattvadarshi, he's not authorized to describe. He cannot give that message. cannot describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. So then there are many Ramayans in market, right? Some of them are not actually authoritative. Srila Prabhupada is not saying that all of them are not authoritative. But Srila Prabhupada is saying some of them are not actually authoritative. And this is not just today, right? Apparently, even 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayans written by different people. Of course, today also there are many Ramayans, but this was the case even 5,000 years ago. This is Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj 5,000 years ago. Apparently, even then there were many Ramayans. How you are saying this? Because Sukadeva Goswami is saying, while describing the history of Lord Ramchandra, Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj, you have already heard about the activities of Lord Ramchandra. So Srila Prabhupada gives this twist, right? That you have heard means you have heard from so many different sources. So many people have said. So apparently there are, so Srila Prabhupada is saying, apparently there are many Ramayans even then. And you have heard from so many different people. Yeah, apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayans or histories. So, based on that point that Sukadeva Goswami said, because you have heard again and again, Srila Prabhupada is bringing out this point that there must have been many Ramayans written even then. But should we read all of them? We must select only those written by Tattvadarshis, not the books of so-called scholars who claim knowledge only on the basis of doctorate. Because somebody knows Sanskrit nicely, and he is not a devotee, and he is a materialist, but he knows Sanskrit and he translates Ramayana. Is that good to read? Is it going to benefit you? That's the point. No. For somebody to write Ramayana, he must be a devotee in the first place. He must be a Tattvadarshi. That is the point Srila Prabhupada is making. Okay. So even though there are many books, we must select only those that are written by Tattvadarshis, right? Although the Ramayana composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Sukadeva Goswami in a few verses. Yes. Next. Wow. Okay, I think this is first Janmadhyasya meter. Let's see. Text 4. Guruvarte tyakta rajyo vyacharad anuvanam padmapadbhyam priyayaha पाणिस्पर्शाक्षमाभ्याम ब्रिजितपथरुजो यो हरीन्द्रानुजाभ्याम वैरूप्याच्छूर्पणख्याः प्रियविरह वृषारोपितभ्रू विजृम्भा त्रस्ताद्भिर्बद्ध सेतुः खलदवा दहनः कोसलेन्द्रो वतान्नः. So who's next? Lokesh read, Mataji read. Usha Mataji, yes, Usha Mataji and Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all praise to Srila Prabhupada, all praise to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramchandra immediately gave up his position of king and, accompanied by his wife Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman or by another monkey, Sugriva, king of the monkeys, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshmana, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Surpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the king of Ravana to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramchandra give us all protection.
I remember once Priyanka Haripriya Mataji had posted this, I think, verse where the entire Ramayana is there in just one verse. Sukadeva Goswami, in one verse, is telling the whole Ramayana practically, right? So, beginning of course, the previous verse said that Lord Ramchandra appeared to Dasharath Maharaj on the request of the demigods, like that. And then the activities are starting here. So to keep the promise of his father intact. So what was that promise? So Dasharath Maharaj, Dasharath Maharaj, actually about Dasharath Maharaj, he was a very, very successful, powerful king, very, very powerful king. Just a few points about Dasharath Maharaj. He was ruling Ayodhya, right? Ayodhya was his capital of the whole kingdom. And the meaning of Ayodhya means which cannot be conquered, either externally or internally. Under Dasharath Maharaj's rule, Ayodhya could not be conquered externally or internally. Externally means externally by other kingdoms or other kings or anyone, they could not penetrate. And internally, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. That means he ruled so nicely that the people were all very advanced in spiritual life. And also, his treasury was always overflowing with wealth. There was no scarcity of water. He had very nice water system that so there are two ways how you get water. One is from the rains and the other is from the rivers. So he had a very good water system where the water is stored from the rivers. So for 11 years, there was no rain in his kingdom, but nobody even realized it, that there was, a drought, because they had sufficient water because of this water system, where all their needs were met, and they didn't even realize that it hadn't rained for 11 years. Only in the 12th year did they realize that, that it had not rained. And then Dasharath Maharaj, his astrologer said something like, Shani is looking at you. So Dasharath Maharaj goes to fight with Shani. And this is before Lord Ramchandra was born. All this was before. But Shani just looked angrily at Dasharath Maharaj when he went to attack. And Jatayu, a powerful vulture, actually protected Dasharath Maharaj, took Dasharath Maharaj and his chariot on his wing, like that. And once again, with Jatayu helping him, Dasharath Maharaj went back to attack Shani. And then this time, Shani, seeing the determination of Dasharath Maharaj, he gave up, his, looking badly at Ayodhya. He just withdrew that. So Dasharath Maharaj was very powerful, and he had only one chinta, right? One worry in his mind, that was that he didn't have a son who could take over the rulership after him. That was his only worry. Otherwise, he was, he was the perfect king. So then, in order to get a son, he performed this Putra Kameshti Yagya with Rishyashringa as the priest. Rishyashringa, again, there's another story about Rishyashringa. But he performed, and in that he got, these 4 sons appeared. The Supreme Lord himself with his expansions had appeared. So then Dasharath Maharaj had once promised, well, when he was fighting for the demigods, he was wounded in the battle. So his wife Kaikeyi had taken Dasharath Maharaj to safety and nursed him back to health. So when Dasharath Maharaj came back to consciousness, he was very pleased with Kaikeyi for saving his life. And he promised her 2 boons. He said, you can ask 2 boons from me, whatever you like. And Kaikeyi said she didn't need anything. She was, Dasharath Maharaj, another, he had 353 wives. The principal were the 3, Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi were the 3 principal wives. And of them, his favorite was Kaikeyi. Again, how he had the other 350 wives, we were discussing the other day when we were talking about Parashuram. So whenever Parashuram would come, he would immediately sit down to get married, to get married to somebody, to one Mataji. Why? Well, not Mataji for him, for us. For him, it would be his wife. Because Parashuram had this principle that he would not kill any Kshatriya who is either taking shelter behind a woman or who is getting married. So for 350 times that Parashuram came, every time Dasharath Maharaj was getting married. So although he could have killed Dasharath Maharaj, he desisted from that. That's how Dasharath Maharaj ended up marrying the 350 wives in addition to his principal queens, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. But unfortunately, he didn't have a son from any of these 353 queens. So then he performed this yagya, and I told you the 4 sons were born. Now he had given 2 boons to Kaikeyi, and she didn't ask for those. She never felt the need. But when Dasharath Maharaj decided to coronate Lord Ramchandra as the next king, Kaikeyi was poisoned by her. Of course, this was all the doing of the demigods, right? They changed the mind of her maidservant, and the maidservant came and poisoned Kaikeyi, saying that, if Ramchandra became the king, then your son Bharat will be treated like a servant. You will be treated like a maidservant of Kaushalya because she will be the queen mother, like that. So she induced Kaikeyi to demand those 2 boons at that time. And what should she ask? One is that Lord Ramchandra should go to the forest for 14 years and Bharat should be coronated as king in place of Lord Ramchandra. So that's what Kaikeyi had asked Dasharath Maharaj, and Dasharath Maharaj was obliged to fulfill those boons. So Lord Ramchandra left the palace to go to the forest for 14 years. And then in separation from Lord Ramchandra, Dasharath Maharaj actually gave up his life. And there are so many connected, how Dasharath Maharaj died in separation. That was also as a result of a curse that he got from Shravan Kumar's father and mother. So anyway, we cannot go into all the details here. I will also be brief like Sukadev Goswami, but just to tell you the context little bit, I'm telling you. So, yeah. So to keep the promise of his father intact, what was that promise that he had given to Kaikeyi? Lord Ramchandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so. And then Lord Ramchandra's lotus feet were so delicate that they couldn't even bear the touch of Sita Devi's soft palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman. Or you can take as, because it says king of the monkeys, right? So he was accompanied by Hanuman, king of the monkeys, or you can say as Sugriva was the king of the monkeys, and also by his younger brother, Lord Lakshman. Along with Sita Devi, he was also there. He was accompanied by Lakshman. And then, of course, later when Sita Devi was kidnapped, then he was accompanied by Sugriva, Hanuman, and others. So both Lakshman and Hanuman gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. So how he ended up wandering in the forest with Hanuman also, having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanakha. So Shurpanakha is the sister of Ravana. She saw Lord Ramchandra in the forest. She was, attracted to his beauty, and she wanted to enjoy with him. And Lord Ramchandra said, no, I'm already married, and here is my wife Sita Devi, and I have taken a vow that, Ekapatni Vrata, right? So Surpanaka, out of anger, she tried to kill Sita Devi. So that's when Lord Ramchandra ordered Lakshman to cut off the nose of Shurpanaka. So this is what happened. So here it is said that having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. Why? Because this Shurpanaka went back to Ravana, and because she wanted to take revenge against Lord Ramchandra. So she went to Ravana and started describing the beauty of Sita Devi, how beautiful she was. And Ravana was a very lusty man, right? He had already raped so many women, even apsaras, like that. So he's a very, very, he's a Rakshasa, of course, a demon, but also very lusty. So when Surpanaka went and described the beauty of Sita Devi, he became very lusty. He had to have her. So then they devised this plan, how to send Ravana away, Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman away from there, so that Ravana could kidnap Sita Devi. So after hearing from Surpanaka, what did Ravana do? He therefore became very angry, Ravana, when he heard that Surpanaka's nose and ears were cut off by Lord Ramchandra. He became very angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean. Sorry. I'm sorry. Having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. So what I was trying to tell is how the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. Because Ravana became angry, and angry, that was, initially he was angry, and the second time it was just out of lust, right? He just wanted to get Sita Devi somehow or other. So he went and he kidnapped Sita Devi. So he arranged for Maricha, the deer, to distract Lord Ramchandra. And in the absence of Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman, he went and kidnapped Sita Devi. How this happened? After Lord Ramchandra cut off the nose of Surpanaka, then Ravana went and kidnapped Sita Devi. So when Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Ramchandra became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge across the ocean. So actually what happened was, Lord Rama, now getting the assistance of Sugriva, Hanuman and their monkey army, found out, actually Hanumanji went to Lanka and he found out Sita's whereabouts. So he came back and informed. So Lord Ramchandra now was going to wage a war against Ravana. But to take all the armies of Vanaras across the ocean, he needed to construct a bridge. He needed a pathway through the ocean. He was waiting. He prayed to, actually, he asked the ocean god to give path, to show path, and there was no response. Then Lord Ramchandra became angry, and then he put his arrow on the bow to shoot at uh, Samudra, the ocean god. Then immediately, seeing the anger of Lord Ramchandra, Samudra came, personified. Samudra came and fell on the feet of Lord Ramchandra and said, I'm ready to help you, I'm ready to help you, don't get angry with me. Like that. Then, subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him. So, along with the army, Lord Ramchandra entered Sri Lanka, and like a fire devouring a forest, right? So how did they enter? Like, how does fire devour forest? Very quickly it spreads. If you have seen, you may or may not have seen forest fires, but even if you see how fire catches, right, very soon it just spreads. So like that, the whole Vanara army headed by Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman, very soon, like fire, devouring a forest, they just went and took over the whole of Lanka, like that. Then, after this, the Lord killed Ravana. Right? The Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramchandra give us all protection. Okay, so we can stop here today. We'll stop Bhagavatam reading here. I'll read Bhagavad Gita, and we'll continue tomorrow. If Medha is there tomorrow, we'll begin with Medha. Now I'll read Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. Bhagavad Gita as it is, introduction, continuation. The English word religion is a little different from Sanatan Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process, and he may change this faith and adopt another. But Sanat, just like, sometimes people are Hindus and then they change their faith to Christianity or Islam. So faith, the Hinduism and Islam and Christianity and Judaism, all these are faiths. Faiths can be changed. One may have faith in a particular process and he may change his faith and adopt another, right? But Sanatan Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be changed from water. So you may say, but water can also be solid in the form of ice. Water can also be a gas in the form of water vapor. How you are saying that water cannot be separated from liquidity? When water is in gas form, do you call it water? Or when water is in solid form as ice, do you call it water? You don't call it water. You call it water only when it is liquid. So therefore, liquidity is the dharma of water. Besides, that's the natural state. The others are temporary. When certain conditions are there, then water becomes ice or water vapor. But if you just let it stay, it comes back to its natural state, which is liquid. So therefore, liquidity is the dharma or religion of water. For instance, liquidity cannot be taken from water, nor can heat be taken from fire. Can you ever have cold fire? No. Fire, you cannot separate heat from fire. Then heat is the dharma of fire. Liquidity is the dharma of water. Similarly, the eternal living entity's dharma is what? The eternal function of the eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Just like heat cannot be taken from fire, liquidity cannot be taken from water, the eternal dharma or function of the living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatan Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatana Dharma, therefore, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sripad Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. It's eternal. Again, eternal means no beginning, no end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian. Yes. Okay. So these are all philosophical points. If anything has no beginning or end, it cannot be sectarian. It will be universally applicable to everyone. Just like Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not a Hindu dharma. It's not a Hindu religion. Krishna consciousness is Sanatan Dharma. It is Sanatan Dharma. It's not meant for one particular class of people. It is for all people. And Srila Prabhupada says, nay, for all living entities. All living entities. Because all living entities, Dharma is to serve the Supreme Lord. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian, for it cannot be limited by any boundaries. Those belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatan Dharma is also sectarian, right? Oh, we already have our religion, why you are teaching us this? But yeah, those who are those belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatan Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply, that's the thing. You have to go deeply into the subject matter and consider it in the light of modern science. It is possible for us to see that Sanatan Dharma is the business of all the people of the world, nay, of all the living entities of the universe. So Sanatan Dharma is not just the business of all human beings, it is the innate dharma function of the living entity, of all living entities, wherever you find them. Okay, let's read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Continuation. November 9th. So Srila Prabhupada wrote to Sumati Morarji, and then he wrote to his god brother Tirtha Maharaj. Yes. How, there is a good opportunity to preach to the Americans. They're looking for something and they're getting cheated by the Mayavadi groups. So if we all come together, we can actually carry out the order of our spiritual master like that. Next, November 9th, 6 p.m. While Prabhupada sat alone in his 5th floor room in Dr. Mishra's yoga studio, the lights suddenly went out. This was his experience of the first moments of the New York City blackout of 1965. In India, power failure occurred commonly. So Prabhupada, while surprised to find the same thing in America, remained undisturbed. He began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra on his beads. Meanwhile, outside his room, the entire New York metropolitan area had been plunged into darkness. The massive power failure, when was this? 6 p.m., okay, in the evening. The massive power failure had suddenly left the entire city without electricity, trapping 800,000 people in the subways and affecting more than 30 million people in 9 states and 3 Canadian provinces. 2 hours, for 2 hours, there was no light. And meanwhile, Srila Prabhupada is just sitting in his room and calmly chanting. 2 hours later, a man from Dr. Mishra's apartment arrived at the door with candles and some fruit. He found Prabhupada in a pleasant mood, sitting there in the darkness, chanting Hare Krishna. The man informed him of the serious nature of such a blackout in New York City. Prabhupada thanked him and returned again to his chanting. The blackout lasted until 7 the next morning. Oh, it was not just 2 hours, it lasted the whole night for 13 hours, 7 the next morning. Srila Prabhupada received a reply to his letter of November 8th to Tirtha Maharaj in Calcutta. Prabhupada had explained his hopes and plans for staying in America, but he had stressed that his god brothers would have to give him their vote of confidence as well as some tangible support. His god brothers had not been working cooperatively. Each leader was interested more in maintaining his own building than in working with the others to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya around the world. So, how would it be possible for them to share Srila Prabhupada's vision of establishing a branch in New York City? They would see it as his separate attempt. Yet, despite the unlikely odds, he appealed to their missionary spirit and reminded them of the desires of their spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Their Guru Maharaj wanted Krishna consciousness to be spread in the West, but when Prabhupada finally got Tirtha Maharaj's reply, he found it unfavorable. His god brother did not argue against his attempting something in New York, but he politely said that the Gaudiya Math funds could not be used for such a proposal. Prabhupada replied, "It is not very encouraging. Still, I am not a man to be disappointed." In fact, he found a little hope in Tirtha Maharaj's reply, so he described to his god brother the property he had recently found for sale at 143 West 72nd Street. The building, only 18.5 feet wide and 100 feet deep, consisted of the first floor store, a basement, and a mezzanine. Prabhupada presented Tirtha Maharaj the price, $100,000 with a $20,000 cash down payment, and remarked that this building was twice the size of their research institute in Calcutta. Prabhupada conceived of the basement as a kitchen and dining area, the first floor as a lecture hall, and the mezzanine as personal apartments with a separate area for the deity of Lord Krishna. Appropriately, Prabhupada had described himself as a man not to be disappointed. He was convinced that if there were a center where people could come, hear from a pure devotee, the genuine God-conscious culture of India could begin in America. Yet, because he had made his plans dependent on obtaining an expensive building in Manhattan, his goal seemed unreachable. Still, he was persistently writing to prominent devotees in India, though they were not interested in his plans. So just we see how Srila Prabhupada, first thing you see is the failure after failure coming in Srila Prabhupada's attempts to serve. But even more importantly, we see how he was not a man who would give up. In spite of all odds, he just, and without any help, he kept pushing the movement. And Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day is coming soon also. So I hope everyone is going to write an offering to Srila Prabhupada for his disappearance day. So we will end the session here. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.